We're going to introduce matrices with a concept and a bit of background here with three sporting teams, Broncos, Cowboys and Titans. The Broncos have had during the first 8 games of the season, 3 wins, 1 draw and 4 losses. The Cowboys have had 7 wins and 1 loss, and the Titans 5 wins and 3 losses. Okay, so these 3 teams playing in a much bigger competition, not just the 3 teams by themselves, but obviously a bigger competition. What we could do is we could actually set up a grid that had wins, draws and losses across there, and we can put the Broncos, Cowboys and Titans there. Now we could fill this with numbers that represents the data that we're given. So for the Broncos, they had 3 wins, they had 1 draw and 4 losses. So we could put the numbers 3, 1, 4. Cowboys had 7 wins, no draws and 1 loss, and the Titans had 5 wins, no draws and 3 losses. Okay, so that just gives you a little background as to what this would be, a matrix, and we could use this matrix and do mathematics on it. If we knew how many points there were for a win, a draw and a loss, we could do some mathematics if we formed another grid for the result points, and by multiplying we could actually work out how many points each team's on, all sorts of things like that, which we will do a little bit later on. Okay, so let's just go for a general rule. So if A is a P, now P is the number of rows. Here we've got 3 rows going across, a P by Q, and Q is the number of columns, and it just so happens that we've got 3 columns and we've got 3 rows. They don't always have to be the same. They can have any dimension you like. So A is a P by Q matrix. We use capital letters for matrices, not lowercase. This is called the dimension of the matrix. So the dimension of this matrix up here is a 3 by 3, 3 rows by 3 columns. So A is a P by Q matrix. So we could write A out generally. If we didn't have values, we want to use some algebra here. So we could say this entry up here would be A11. Now this is the row number and that is the column number. So as we go across here, this would be A. It's still in the first row, but it is now in the second column. And this would be A13. So we're going across the first row. This is in the first column, the second column and the third column. Now, if this is a P by Q matrix, it must have P rows and Q columns. So Q columns across there, and we must have P rows from there down to there. So this last one would be lowercase a. It is still in the first row, but there are Q columns, so it'll be A1Q. So what are we going to put for the subscripts there? We're no longer in the first row, we're now in the second row, so it'll be A2, and we're in the first column. This will be A22, etc. as you go across, and this will be A2, second row, and a Q column. Alright, we'd continue on down there and we get to the last row. Now how many rows are there? There are P rows, so it'll be AP, because that is the last number of rows. There are P rows. How many columns are there? This is the first column. There are Q columns altogether. So this will be A, P2. And if we want to write another one, this will be A, P. It is in the Pth column, sorry, Pth row, and it would be in the third column. And then if we were to do the last one, what, always put the row number first. What row are we in? We're in the Pth row, and we're in the Qth column. Okay. How many entries? So there'd be a total. How many different values would be in there? Entries. So there would be P multiplied by Q entries. Okay, if we go back to our results for the Broncos and that, we had 3, 1, 4, 7, 0, 1, 5, 0, 3. Let's just call this capital R. This is results, my results matrix. So what would be the value of R13? Little r13. So what's the value of that entry? Okay, so we look at here, we've got, it's in the first row and it's in the third column. So this is the first row, this is the first column, second column, third column. So that would have a value of 4. And just another example, what would be the value of R32? R32. So we're in the third row, so we go down first row, second row, third row, and in the second column would be equal to 0. Alright, so that's just a little introduction on matrices. We'll come back and do some more on operations on matrices.